What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes I've made to the Kingambit line in my ROM hack Pokemon Scrambled Scarlet. So if you're a new viewer here and you've never heard of this ROM hack before, you're probably asking a lot of questions. I mean, especially if you're just looking at this out of context. If you were expecting some type of competitive analysis and you're looking, where the hell is Supreme Overlord? Why is it a pseudo legendary? What's going on? I'm going to answer some of those questions in a second, but for new viewers, I think it would be best if you, first of all, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you coming. Shout out to you. Um, I would recommend pausing the video and giving the description a quick little read. There's a lot of important like bullet point information that'll answer a lot of your questions, and then when you're done with the video, you can check out my other ones linked in the description or on my channel, and also join my Discord and look at the Google Sheets. But make sure you do all of that after the video is done. Just try to mess up my watch time right by clicking off. So with that all being said, also shout out to my returning viewers. I appreciate all of you guys coming back. Leave a comment down below if you're returning. But as for Kingambit, so Supreme Overload is gone. I know a lot of people, especially people who don't know anything about this ROM hack, are going to be complaining about that. This ROM hack is balanced around Teamlocked nuzlockes. Even just the fact that it's balanced around nuzlockes in the first place makes Supreme Overlord a horrible ability. Not to mention that 50% boost that you get from Supreme Overlord is covered by sharpness anyways, because tons of new moves are sharpness boosted. Obviously, not every single one of your moves is sharpness boosted, but you have plenty of stab moves and coverage moves that are sharpness boosted. And in general, this isn't 66 competitive singles where your Pokemon are inevitably going to faint, and therefore having Supreme Overlord is a great ability, especially when you have, the Swords Dance. I mean, we all know why Supreme Overlord is good, right? Terra, SD, all that shit, right? Sucker Punch. It forces a lot of stupid 50-50s, blah, 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 blah. It's very, very good. But in a ROM hack context, it's bad. It's horrible, even. Your ability should not have to depend on you fucking losing Pokemon. The entire point of this ROM hack is for your Pokemon to be kept alive as long as possible, to bond with your team, to use the same Pokemon, and then take advantage of all the new tools that they have, which I'll get into in a second with Kingambit and Bisharp, because even in regards to the evolution line, keeping Bisharp over Kingambit is a very, very not easy, a very difficult choice, which is the intention behind these types of Pokemon, where the mid-evolution and the final evolution are separate entities, right? Obviously, they share two abilities, but Bisharp is significantly faster and has Unburden, which is buffed in the regard that there are much easier ways to trigger it now, the easiest being single-use Quick Claw, and then Kingambit has, so basically that's what Bisharp has going for, right? Technically also a Violite, however, Kingambit's natural bulk is incredible as well, so I wouldn't necessarily say a Violite is a huge point in Bisharp's favor, although being able to have 100 base speed and be bulky with the Violite is useful in some contexts for sure. But the main advantage of Bisharp is just that 100 base speed and that Unburden, especially because like Scarf Sharpness can get you a lot of kills. Versus the AI as well. So that's definitely an advantage of Bisharp, and also of course makes sense looking at their designs. I mean, even in vanilla, Bisharp is faster, but I just upped that a bunch. I think Bisharp fits being pretty quick as like this almost, it looks pretty agile, like he can run around like a ninja, like a Naruto run type of shit. That's how I envision him moving. Same reason I gave him Unburden. He just seems like he could be pretty nimble and quick. Like, I don't know if y'all know like the Shadow Triad or some shit like in Gen 5. Like that's how I see them moving around personally. Hence why they have the 100 base speed and the Unburden. Again, single-use consumable Quick Claw makes Unburden super easy to trigger, although with item claws you might want to use other items, because you might want to run your Quick Claw on somebody else. In those cases, there are tons of other ways. I'd say probably one of the strongest ways to abuse Unburden is Endure Lychee Berry. In-game, that's incredibly easy to exploit. Why did the music just get so quiet all of a sudden? It's incredibly easy to trigger Endure Lychee Berry in-game. You get +1 attack, +2 speed. I mean, it goes insanely hard. As for Kingambit, though, you might be thinking, well, why would I ever take, Kingambit when Bisharp is bulky with a Violite? First of all, that's already enough of a reason because it's bulky with a Violite. Meanwhile, Kingambit can run an actual item and be very, very tanky. However, the main advantage of Kingambit here is False Surrender, aka Kowtow Cleave, and then Battle Armor. So the reason I called it False Surrender is because the actual move False Surrender, which is Grimmsnarl's signature move normally, is repurposed into a Hell Thrust, which is a widespread Dark type recoil move, TM, 100 base power. And because of that, I was looking at the concept of False Surrender, and it's pretty much, it literally is what Kowtow Cleave is. It's just that False Surrender is technically like a jab or a stab, meanwhile Kowtow Cleave is technically a slash. However, it fits, conceptually kowtowing, which is, the context of that move is they bow down, right? They fake like they're surrendering, or they fake like they're bowing down at the opponent's feet, and then they catch you off guard and they slash you. That's why in vanilla that move can never miss and stuff like that. Like I can go to Kingambit's decks, but yeah, I mean, I know for a fact that's what False Surrender is. I mean, Kowtow Cleave, same thing. After the target, after kowtowing. Kowtowing is bowing down, right? So that's why that's the way it is. And then a lot of Pokemon in this hack, not a lot actually, that's the whole point, is that it's not a lot of Pokemon, but it's a good amount of Pokemon have exclusive flinch, 1PP priority flinch moves, which is incredible in an in-game context when you can exactly time what turn you're clicking that move. So it's an incredible tool. It's a very strong priority move. Obviously, just one use is plenty, right? That can get you a free kill. It can put something in chip range to then finish it off with like a sucker punch or whatever. It's just, or aerial ace or creeping strike, both of which are also priority and sharpness boosted non-stab moves. As you can see, everything that is sharpness boosted is bolded, so it's pretty easy to tell what is and what isn't. Of course, late game you have those very powerful like nuke type sharpness moves. Why did I put... I should totally swap Brutal Blade and Ceaseless Edge. I have no idea why I did it this way. Hold on guys, I'm zooming in just for a second. I don't know why I did it that way. Hopefully I don't forget to fix this after the video. Yeah, this should be like this, because this is much stronger. I guess with Scarf and this is fine. This is fine. Alright, maybe I'll swap it back after the video, I'll see how I feel. Regardless though, regardless of what level you get it, it's still a very powerful tool for all of these. Ceaseless Edge is exclusive on Pokemon that I think makes sense, like logically, to be able to slash and then have either metal shards or rock shards or whatever shards come off. So for example, Sharpness Sceptile won't have Ceaseless Edge because his Blazer mid leaves, but Kingambit and Bisharp I can totally see using the move, because I can see their little metal like blades leaving behind, you know, shards or shrapnel, whatever you want to call it. And then Battle Armor is pretty self-explanatory. Initially I had Intimidate on them. However, I honestly prefer Battle Armor, especially on something that's already this bulky. Like, it doesn't need the extra bulk. It would rather just not be able to get crit. Not only are there tons of guaranteed crit moves, I mean, even as you can see on this guy's learn set, he gets tons of, you know, 50 to 100% crit rate moves. And all of those 50% crit rate moves are essentially 100% when used with AI, or at least they should be played around as if they're always critting, right? So all those moves, being able to completely nullify those is great. And then obviously just in a Nuzlocke context, being able to be 100% assured that you can't be crit is always very good. So that's another great defensive advantage that Kingambit has over Bisharp, on top of this incredibly powerful False Surrender priority move. So, and of course, the fact that it is stronger in terms of raw damage and bulkier in terms of raw bulk. I mean, this guy's super fat now. As for why there is pseudo, I probably should have addressed this earlier. I mean, number one, it fits really well, to me at least. There are tons of new pseudo legendaries in this ROM hack. It's not like a super, I mean, it's still special, but it's not like as few as there are in vanilla, right? And then also, every Pokemon in this ROM hack is going to be great regardless if it's a pseudo, semi-pseudo, 480 BST, regardless of their stat total. Every single Pokemon I put extra effort into making great for the entire game, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, the extra stats are nice, but it's more just like a flavor thing. I just think it's cool and fitting for them to have this type of stat spread. And to be this like special tier, I guess, of Pokemon. I've been doing that for a lot of the cross-gen evos. I think it just fits their vibes personally. But yeah, Battle Armor super useful. Of course, Unburden is great. Proficiency is also great, especially on, I mean, so the good thing with Proficiency on Bisharp is that you can actually run less attack EVs and then guarantee that you get the speed boost from Unburden. That's really good. Like, not from Unburden, excuse me, from Proficiency, so you can like get a kill, get a speed boost, and then you're strong enough to kill things without the attack EVs in a lot of cases, depending on, you know, the opponent's team and the specific moves you're clicking, whatever it is. But yeah, Sharpness does give you that extra oomph though when you need it to secure a specific KO, so it's always nice to be able to switch between your abilities. In Bisharp's case, you have a sweeping ability, a raw damage output ability, and a speed ability, which is also kind of a sweeping ability, or at least getting a couple kills, although sweeping, we're going to have to address that eventually down the line if it ends up being too broken, but there is a lot of anti-setup stuff put into place, so we'll have to see as, you know, the game comes out how that plays out. Kingambit could technically get a defense boost with Proficiency, but it's essentially Moxie on Kingambit. It's the same thing, which is still great. You know, you could, first of all, you could try some Trick Room crap if you have a Trick Room teammate, but most importantly, I would just say it's simple, like, simple Sucker Punch, like get a kill with a Quick Claw and then kill the next thing with Sucker Punch at +1 or something, some hypothetical like that, right? Definitely works. And then Battle Armor again is, I would say, one of the main reasons you would evolve him, on top of just that. I mean, I would say the main reason you evolve him is just having this broken ass flinch move. I mean, it is definitely very good. However, so is Bisharp being incredibly fast. So it is a genuine choice. It's up to your own personal preference, which of the two designs you like more. That's kind of the whole philosophy of the game, right? Is you're supposed to be able to use whatever Pokemon you like better. That's it. I mean, obviously, yes, there are some mechanical different. It also depends on what your team requires, the point in the game you're at, your specific preferred playstyle, all that stuff. As for other sharpness boosted moves, as you can see, they have tons of coverage. So they've got Sacred Slash, Fighting type. They've got Water, Psychic, Grass, Bug, and then technically even Ghost if you got like Terra Ghost or some niche situation. And then even stuff like Solar Blade can be pretty decent. And then Jagged Edge as well for that dark. And then of course they have their dual stab. Slash if you got like Terra Normal would be pretty sick. Of course it's RNG'd, so it's up to whatever the RNG gives you. But I think Slash would be pretty sick with Terra Normal for sure. Yeah, in general, I mean, these guys have tons of options in terms of coverage and just raw, strong stab. Utility-wise, they've got great stuff. So, also, Battle Armor is really nice for, like, Iron Defense stuff, because you can't be crit through it. It makes it incredibly consistent. So you can run, like, Iron Defense, even Iron Defense Body Press. Kingambit with Battle Armor is pretty good. Of course, I also give them Parting Shot. I mean, it's a pretty limited distribution move in this hack compared to its Sweltering Sun, but, it definitely fits, like, the majority of Dark types as a TM. And it's a really nice tool and a nice pivot move. It's good on both Bisharp and Kingambit. Pawniard early in the game, so they all lost Defiant. I probably should have covered that earlier on. Defiant is not horrible, but okay, so the reason that Defiant is best in competitive is because it punishes things like webs and like defog, right? Otherwise, Defiant is kind of ass. And then in doubles, it's Intimidate. And not that Intimidate is not a factor in singles, but versus the AI, it's not. AI will rarely be using Intimidate against you, because Intimidate is good because it's, you're switching around, right? Meanwhile, versus the AI, it's incredibly easy to play around, the AI having Intimidate. Maybe once in a while, but it's very easy to play around, too exploitable. So the main use of Defiant in this ROM hack, again, given that defog is not a factor, hazards are barely, if ever, a factor versus you as the player, all that stuff isn't going to matter, right? The main use of Defiant is a lot of these early game moves, these 50, 60 base power moves, and 70, and a couple even stronger like Lunge, will always drop offensive stats, and there are also a couple moves here that always drop speed. I mean, here's a whole list, right? And there are also a big list of, this is the move sheet, by the way. If you're this far into the video and you haven't looked at this yet, definitely pause the video, or actually finish this video and then go look at all the moves guide. But as for actual stat dropping moves that aren't attack moves, there are quite a few of those as well. Where the hell are they? I have categories. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but here we go. Yeah. So here's all of those as well, and they're all organized as well. So yeah, tons and tons of ways to trigger Defiant. However, unlike Sweltering Sun, most things don't get Parting Shot anymore, so AI is not going to be spamming Parting Shot as much, so Defiant isn't as useful into the late game, because a lot of these lower base power debuffing moves, while amazing for the player, are not as good for the AI anymore after the mid game. So that's why they lose Defiant, because it's just not as useful anymore as the game progresses. But it's incredible early game. I mean, incredible, right? A lot of moves will drop your stats, so you get that switch and you get that plus 2 attack, and it's very, very good. For example, if you switch in on any of those moves I showed earlier, you get +3 because they drop attack and special attack, so it's net gain of +3. And of course you can do some proficiency stuff early game, and then early game we've also got like Sharpness Metal Claw, which is 90 base power, Sharpness Fury Swipes with loaded dice, Sharpness Air Release and Creeping Strike, and Smart Strike, which is incredibly powerful. Smart Strike being the strongest sharpness move you have for the early game, until you get Slash at 25, and other cool stuff. And then the mid game you actually get all the coverage options for like Laceration, Aqua Cutter, all that crap. Battle Cry, how did I not cover that yet? Battle Cry with Battle Armor is also incredible on Kingambit. Battle Cry and Parting Shot with Battle Armor, right? Just the fact that you can never ever be crit is so nice versus the AI, when not only because you're blocking all of these guaranteed crit moves, of which there are many. Here's a whole list of the 50% crit moves. Here's all of the widespread Wicked Blow type variants, a couple Surging Strikes, only 3 Surging Strikes variants. Tons of Wicked Blow type variants though, and then there are even more that are exclusive for signature moves. So point is, you completely block the damage boost from those moves, not to mention stuff with Ruthless or Sharpness, whatever, you block that. Well, you don't block the Sharpness boost, but you block the crit, which is part of the boost. And then, yeah, in Bisharp's case, you can also run Sharpness Scope Lens in conjunction with those 50% crit moves to get a guaranteed crit. However, I mean, number one, it can be overkill, and then number two, you're not that fast to the point where you can reliably outspeed everything at all, which is why you have Unburdened and Proficiency to boost your speed up, and you're going to be using Choice Scarf, whatever. Point is though, you can run scope lens for certain situations where you need to secure an OCO on something super tanky for whatever reason. You also have guaranteed crit sharpness boosted first impression, so that's 135 power overall with sharpness. That's pretty great to teach every once in a while. Like, again, you have move relearner, so all of these moves, including the utility ones, will be used depending on the situation. That's how all Pokemon are balanced in this game. It's to be able to switch between your abilities and your EV spreads and your moves to completely change how the Pokemon plays depending on the matchup. But yeah, Kingambit, that Battle Cry, so Battle Armor, Battle Cry drops attacking stats by -2. It's like Charm and Befriend in one move. It's really, really good. It only has 2 PP, but that's more than enough, right? You click it once versus something, and now they're dealing half damage, and they can never crit, which is like, takes all the risk out of using those moves away. You can also debuff with one of your other teammates and then send in Kingambit if you want. I mean, whatever you want to do, right? So regardless, Battle Armor is obviously great. Proficiency is very useful for certain situations to get that sweep going or that snowball, maybe get a couple kills in a row, and then sharpness is obviously very useful as well. So that's about it. I guess the last couple things I can cover are Finishing Blow at level 65, which is the very end of the game. That's, if you look at the level caps, you can always check this for yourself after you're done with the video. You can see all the level caps and shit. But Finishing Blow is the very end of the game. So it's a really strong move. It's Fell Stinger, right? It's essentially Fell Stinger. Oh, it's also should be underlined, but let me also put bolded instead of underlined. But yeah, let me also write down just a list, Rollerblade level, just so I don't forget that. Okay. I mean, I think I've covered pretty much everything. Finishing Blow gives you +3 attack. That's incredible with both Unburden and Proficiency. With Proficiency, you can get either +1 speed, +3 attack after killing something, or +4 attack after killing something, depending on your EV spread. And then Unburden, obviously, is incredible because you get +3 attack, and then +2 speed from, I mean, not literally +2 speed, but you double your speed. And it's also great because Bisharp doesn't need to run any speed EVs with Unburden because you have speed the entire game already, because there's no crazy choice scarf speed tiers you have to play around in game. So yeah, all of that is awesome. Yeah, overall the choice between Bisharp and Kingambit is a real one. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you made it to the end, shout out to you. I appreciate it. And I will be back for more coming up. Peace. Hopefully, I mean, is there anything else I want to touch on? I don't know. Like, maybe I glossed over the removal of... I mean, I don't know. Anybody listening this far and doesn't care anyways in regards to me removing Supreme Overlord, because that's like a given in a ROM hack like this. Like, it's just not good. So yeah, all right. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back for more. Peace.